Fia buries her dolls one by one, hosting a series of funerals. Obvious. Every time there's a handsome stranger they meet, we know there's gonna be a romance. Yeah, all these books, almost all of them, have a romantic element to it. I guess that's what's trendy right now. Hello you guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, you're watching Booked on Charity. In today's video, I'll be sharing with you my most anticipated releases for May 2023. And if you are interested in finding out which books I'm most excited for, please keep watching and remember to subscribe. The first book that I'm interested in and is releasing on the 9th of May is Atalanta, and this is by Jennifer Saint, who is also the author of Electra and Ariadne. So this book has been published by Flatiron Books and it currently has a 4.11 rating on Goodreads from 924 ratings, which I think so far is pretty good. And the synopsis reads like this: from the beloved best-selling author of Electra and Ariadne, a reimagining of the myth of Atalanta, a fierce huntress raised by bears and the only woman in the world's most famous band of heroes, the Argonauts princess, warrior, lover, hero when Princess Atalanta is born, a daughter rather than the son her parents hoped for, she is left on a mountain to die, but even then she is a survivor. Raised by a mother bear under the protective eye of the goddess Artemis, Atalanta grows up wild and free with just one condition: if she marries, Artemis warns, it will be her undoing. Although she loves her beautiful forest home, Atalanta yearns for adventure. When Artemis offers her the chance to fight in her name alongside Argonauts, the fierce band of warriors the world has ever seen, Atalanta seizes it. The Argonauts' quest for the Golden Fleece is filled with impossible challenges, but Atalanta proves herself equal to the men she fights alongside. As she is swept into a passionate affair, in defiance of Artemis's warning, she begins to question the goddess's true intentions. Can Atalanta carve out her own legendary place in the world of men while staying true to her heart? Full of joy, passion, and adventure, Atalanta is the story of a woman who refuses to be contained. Jennifer Saint places Atalanta in the pantheon of the greatest heroes in Greek mythology, where she belongs. So this sounds really interesting to me. I have it on my list and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of the story. The next book I'm interested in is called The Fourth Wing, and this is by Rebecca Yarros. It is the first book in the Empyrean series and it currently has a 4.78 star rating on Goodreads from 3,086 ratings, which I think is pretty good. The synopsis reads like this: enter the brutal and elite world of a war college for dragon riders from USA based talent. Did they just say dragon riders? What? Okay. Enter the brutal and elite world of a war college for dragon riders from USA Today best-selling author Rebecca Yarros. 20-year-old Violet Sorrengail was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. Now, the commanding general, also known as her tough as Talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of Navarre, dragon riders. But when you are smaller than everybody else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away, because dragons don't bond to fragile humans. They incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most will kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest will kill her just for being her mother's daughter. Okay. They already had me at dragons, okay? They had me at dragons, but I'm really excited for this book. It is being published by Entangled Publishing, LLC Red Tower Books. So looking forward to this one. And this book released on the 2nd of May. The next book I'm interested in is Fractal Noise by Christopher Paolini. So it's releasing on the 16th of May and it's been released by Tor Books. This book doesn't have the best ratings. It currently has 3.74 star ratings out of 169, but I read a Christopher Paolini book a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I absolutely loved it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in store on this one. So this is a sci-fi book and it says July 25th 2234. The crew of Adamura discovers the anomaly. On the seemingly uninhabited planet Talos the 7th, a circular pit 50 kilometers wide, its curve not of nature but design. Now a small team must land and journey on foot across the surface to learn who built the hole and why. But they all carry the burdens of lives carved out on disparate colonies in the cruel cold of space. For some, the mission is a dream for a lifetime, but for others, a risk not worth taking. And for one, it is a desperate attempt to find meaning in an uncaring universe. Each step they take towards the mysterious abyss is more punishing than the last, and the ghosts of the past follow. Looking forward to this one. It doesn't really give you a lot, but I hope that it's good. I really enjoyed To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, so I hope that it has kind of like the same kind of writing style, plot. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. The next one on my radar is called Warrior Girl Unearthed, and this is by Angeline Boley. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It released on the 2nd of May and it currently has 4.51 star ratings on Goodreads from 489 ratings. At the back it says, from the New York Times best-selling author of Firekeeper's Daughter comes a thrilling YA mystery about a native teen who must find a way to bring an ancestor home to her tribe. Perry Firekeeper Birch was ready for her summer of slack, but instead, after a fender bender that was entirely not her fault, she stuck working to pay back her Auntie Darnis for repairs to the Jeep. Thankfully, she has the other outcasts of the summer program, Tim, Misfit Toys, and even her twin sister, Pauline. Together they race obstacle courses, plan vigils for missing women in the community, and make sure summer doesn't feel so lost after all. But when she attends a meeting at a local university, Perry learns about the Warrior Girl, an ancestor whose bones and knife are stored in the museum archives, and everything changes. Perry has to return Warrior Girl to her tribe. Determined to help, she learns all she can about Nakpra, the federal law that allows tribes to request the return of ancestral remains and sacred items. The university has been using legal loopholes to hold on to Warrior Girl and 12 other Anishiname's ancestors' remains, and Perry and the Misfits won't let it go any longer. Using all of her skills and resources, the Misfits realize a heist is the only way to bring back the stolen artifacts and remain for good. But there is more to this repatriation than meets the eye, as more women disappear and Pauline's perfectionism takes a turn for the worst. As secrets and mysteries unfurl, Perry and the Misfits must fight to find a way to make things right for the ancestors and for the community. Sure. Okay, there's clearly going to be a lot of social commentary in this one, so looking forward to it. I hope it's not heavy. The next book I'm looking forward to is called A Crown of Ivy and Glass, and this is the first book in the Middle Mist trilogy by Claire Legrand. This book is releasing on the 9th of May and it currently has a 3.25 star rating on Goodreads, which is not great, also from 285 ratings. So this one says, Lady Gemma Ashbourne seemingly has it all. She's young, gorgeous, and rich. Her family was anointed by the gods, blessed with incredible abilities. But underneath her glittery facade, Gemma is deeply sad. Years ago, her sister Mara was taken to the Middle Mist to guard against treacherous magic. Her mother abandoned the family. Father and eldest sister Farin embroiled in a deadly blood feud with the mysterious Bosk family. Often forget Gemma Gemma exists. Worst of all, Gemma is the only Ashburn to possess no magic. Instead, her body fights it like poison. Constantly ill, aching with loneliness, Gemma craves love and yearns to belong. Then she meets the devastatingly handsome Talant the Astir. His family destroyed themselves, seduced by a demon, and Talon, the only survivor, is determined to redeem their honor. Intrigued and enchanted, Gemma proposes a bargain. She'll help Talon navigate high society if he helps her destroy the Bosks. According to the popular legend, a demon called the Man with the Three-Eyed Crown is behind the family's blood feud. Slay the demon, end the feud. But attacks in the Middle Mist are increasing. The plot against the Bosks quickly spirals out of control, and something immense and terrifying is awakening in Gemma, drawing her inexorably towards Talon and an all-consuming passion that could destroy her or show her her true strength of her power at last. Whew, I feel like that was a mouthful, but I'm interested to see especially how her magic is going to come about, because she doesn't have magic. And when she tries, I guess, to call for it, it's like poison to her body. I'm just interested to see how the author is going to navigate all that. The next book on my radar is called Psych and Eros, and this is by Luna McNamara. This book is published by William Morrow, and the Kindle edition is being published on the 25th of May, and then the paperback is due on the 13th of June. This book currently has a 3.7 star rating out of 233 ratings on Goodreads, and the synopsis reads like this. What happens when a god of love falls in love? A prophecy claims that Psych, princess of Mycenae, will conquer a monster feared by the gods. Beloved by her family but at odds with the society's expectations for women, Psyche trains to be a hero, mastering blade and bow. When Psyche angers Aphrodite, the love goddess enlists Eros, god of desire, to help deliver a cruel curse. Eros is the last born of the eldest gods, dry-witted and jaded, unsure of his place in the cosmos. The last thing he wants is to become involved in the chaos of the mortal world. But when he pricks himself with the arrow intended for Psyche, Eros is doomed to yearn for a woman who will be torn from him the moment their eyes meet. Oh my goodness. A joyous and subversive tale of gods, monsters, and the human heart and soul. Psyche and Eros dazzle the senses while exploring notions of trust, sacrifice, and what it truly means to be a hero. With unforgettably vivid characters, spellbinding prose, and delicious tension, Luna McNamara has crafted a shimmering and propulsive debut novel about a love so strong it defies the will of Olympus. Ooh, sounds good. Sounds good. The next book on my radar is called The Isle of the Gods by Amy Kaufman. This is the first book in a series titled the same, and it currently has 4.22 star rating out of 236 on Goodreads. It was released on the 2nd of May and is being published by North Books of Young Readers. There's so many. I have a long list, by the way. When Sally's father leaves her high and dry in the port of Kickapoo, she has no intention of riding out the winter on land while he sails to adventure in the North Seas. But any plans to follow him are dashed when a handsome stranger with telltale magician marks on his arm boards her ship, presenting her and the crew with a dangerous mission to cross the Crescent Sea without detection so he can complete a ritual on the sacred isles of the gods. You know, every time they're like a handsome stranger, you just know there's gonna be a love story in here. Like the last 2-3 books I read about handsome strangers, we all know what's about to happen. It says what starts as a leisure cruise relieved to to acts of treason and sheer terror on the high seas, bringing two countries to the brink of war. Two strangers closer than they never thought possible and stirring two dangerous gods from centuries of slumber. Magic, romance, and slumbering gods clash in the start of a riveting fantasy series that spans gangsters, dens, forgotten temples, and the high seas, from a New York Times best-selling author of Aurora Cycle, which is a series that I'm still yet to get into. The next book I'm excited for is called All the Dead Lie Down. This is by Carrie Macaulay. It is releasing on the 16th of May. It is published by Catherine Teagan Books. It currently has 4.06 star rating on Goodreads with 156 ratings. And this is The Haunting of Bly Manor meets House of Salt and Sorrows in award-winning author Carrie Macaulay's contemporary YA Gothic romance about a dark family lineage, the ghosts of grief, and the lines will cross for love. The sleeping house was very much awake. Days after a tragedy leaves Maren Blythe alone in the world, she receives a surprising invitation from Alice Lovelace, an acclaimed horror writer and childhood friend of Maren's mother. Alice offers her a nanny position at Lovelace House, the family coastal Maine estate. Maren accepts and soon finds herself minding Alice's peculiar girls. Thea buries her dolls one by one, hosting a series of funerals, while Wren does everything in her power to drive Maren away. Thea buries her dolls one by one, hosting a series of funerals. It's gonna go down. Evie Hallowell is every bit as strange as her younger sisters, and yet Maren is quickly drawn in by Evie's compelling behavior and ethereal grace. But as Maren settles in, she can't escape the anxiety that follows her like a shadow. Dead birds appear in Maren's room, the children's pranks escalate, something dangerous lurks in the woods, leaving mutilated animals in its wake. All is not well at Lovelace House, and Maren must unravel its secrets before they consume her. It feels like every gothic... No, let me rephrase. I've only read one gothic. No, I have not. But the one I read was based on somebody being invited to a household that was haunted, essentially, and I guess they get to be I'm talking about Mexican Gothic. That's the only one I read. But I feel like reading the synopsis of other Gothic horrors, they're all kind of like aligned in the same way. Also, I don't know too much about Gothic horror, so let me know if I'm wrong down below. Otherwise, am I the only one seeing this trend? I don't know. The next book on my radar has a very, very beautiful cover. Oh, stunning. It will be up here. And it is called Of Light and Shadow, a fantasy romance novel inspired by Indian mythology. Oh, and this is by Tanaz Bathina. It's beautiful. It's releasing on the 23rd of May and it's published by Farrar, Straus and Giroux. It currently has a 4.36 star rating on Goodreads, which is pretty good, but it only has 25 ratings, so the people that have read it have loved it, essentially. And the synopsis says, Of Light and Shadow is a novel about magic, mayhem, love, and betrayal. The story of a bandit and a prince who change each other in unexpected ways. When they don't give us our birthright, we steal it. Roshan Chaya is out for justice. Abandoned by her parents at birth and adopted by the kingdom of Jwala's most notorious bandit before his brutal murder, she is now leader of the Shadow Clan, a gang of farmer-turned-bandits impoverished by the provincial governor's atrocities and corruption. Roshan's goal to avenge her adoptive father and earn back rights and dignity for her people. Prince Naveen has always felt like an outcast, second in line for the throne. He has never been close to his grandmother, Queen Bhairavi of Jwala. When a night out drinking with friends leads to his capture by the infamous Shadow Clan, Naveen schemes to befriend Roshan and use her as a means to escape. His ploy, however, brings Naveen closer to the corruption and poverty at the heart of Roshan's province, raising questions about its governor and Naveen's own family. To further complicate things, the closer Roshan and Naveen get, the harder it becomes to fight their growing attraction. Obvious! Every time there's a handsome stranger, they meet. We know there's gonna be a romance. Yeah, all these books, almost all of them, have a romantic element to it. I guess that's what's trendy right now. People want smut. To further complicate things, but how can they trust each other when the world as they know it starts to fall apart? Set in a magical world inspired by the Badlands of the 17th century in India, this standalone epic fantasy novel by Tanaz Bhathina is packed with political tensions, love, dangerous schemes, love, and swoon-worthy romance that asks the age-old question, can love conquer all? The next book on my radar is called Court of the Undying Seasons, and this is by A.M. Strickland. It is a vampire story, you guys. I haven't read many vampire stories, but I feel like also there aren't a lot of vampire stories, and I do love vampires. They are one of my favorite supernatural beings, but I don't see them a lot in books. So yeah, this one is releasing on the 16th of May. It is published by Farrell and Friends. It currently has a 4.23 star rating on Goodreads out of 95 ratings, and the synopsis reads like this. Oh guys, these synopses are just long paragraphs and paragraphs. I'm about to read the synopsis now, and if you've been on the channel for a while and you know me and you know my reading taste, you know that I am a fan of Sarah J. Maas. And the first thing they say here is Sarah J. Maas meets a deadly education in A.M. Strickland's lush, queer, YA dark fantasy novel. In becoming a vampire, I'm less than a girl and more, or maybe I'm becoming what I always have been deep inside, a blade. When a 19-year-old Finn volunteers to take her secret love's place in their village finding, she's terrified. Those who are chosen at the finding are whisked away to Castle Court Hearts, a vampire school where human students either succeed and become vampires or fail and spend the rest of their lives as human thralls, or they don't survive long enough to become either. Finn is determined to forge a different, learn how to kill the undead and get revenge for her mother, who was taken by the vampires years ago. But Court's Hearts is as captivating as it is deadly, and Finn is quickly swept up in her new world and its inhabitants, particularly Graven. Well, wait for it. Her handsome and hostile vampire maker, whose blood is nothing short of intoxicating. What did I say? Handsome stranger. Even in vampires, handsome. What did I say? I called it, but it says as Finn begins to discover new aspects of her own identity and test her newfound powers, she stumbles across a string of murders that may have been connected to a larger ritual, one with potentially legal consequences for vampires and humans alike. This sounds really, really interesting to me, and I am looking forward to it. The next book I'm interested in is actually a second book in a series, and the series is called Little Thieves. Book 2 is called Painted Devils. However, I'm gonna read the synopsis of book 1 instead, but before I do that, this book currently has 4.57 star rating from 171 ratings, and it is releasing on the 5th of May, and it is being published by Henry Holt and Company. So book 1 reads like so. Book 1, by the way, has 4.29 star rating, so I think it's good series overall, and it has received 10,900 ratings so far. So it says, once upon a time, there was a horrible girl, Vanya Schmidt, knows that no gift is freely given, not even a mother's love, and she's on the hook for one hell of a debt. Vanya, the adopted goddaughter of Death and Fortune, was Princess Giselle's dutifully servant up until a year ago. That was when Vanya's otherworldly mother demanded a terrible price for their care, and Vanya decided to steal her future back by stealing Giselle's life for herself. Ha, Vanya. The real Giselle is left a penniless nobody while Vanya uses an enchanted string of pearls to take her place. Now Vanya leads a lonely but lucrative double life as a princess and jewel thief, charming nobility while emptying their coffers to fund her great escape. Then one hides the way from freedom, Vanya crosses the wrong god and is cursed to an untimely end, turning into jewels stone by stone for her greed. My goodness. Vanya has just 2 weeks to figure out how to break her curse and make her getaway, and with a feral guardian half-god, Giselle Sinister's fiance, and an over-eager junior detective on Vanya's tail, she'll have to pull the biggest grift yet to save her own life. This sounds really, really good, and I feel like I've seen Little Thieves in the bookshop, and now I'm like, I actually wanna go grab this book. The next book is called Ellie Engel Saves herself. Initially they have Save the World and they scratch it out, and at the bottom they have herself, and this is by Leah Johnson. It currently has 4.22 star rating and 113 star rating. This is a middle grade published on the 2nd of May by Disney Hyperion, and the synopsis goes like this. Ellie Engel doesn't stand out, not at home where she's alone with her pet fish since her dad moved away and her mom has to work around the clock, not at the bakery where she helps out old Mr. Walker on the weekends, and definitely not at school where her best friend Abby, the coolest, boldest, most talented girl in the world, drags Ellie along on her never-ending quest to make her mark. To someone else, a life in the shadows might seem boring or lonely, but not to Ellie. As long as she has Abby by her side and a comic book in her hand, she's quite content. Too bad life didn't bother checking in with Ellie, because when a freak earthquake hits her small town, Ellie wakes up with the power to bring back anything back to life with just her touch. And when a video of her using her power suddenly goes viral, Ellie's life goes somewhere she never imagined or wanted, straight into the spotlight. Surviving middle school is hard enough. Surviving middle school when paparazzi are cramped out on your front lawn and an international pop star wants you to use your power on live TV, and you might be in love with your best friend but she doesn't know it. Absolutely impossible. Oh, this even a queer. Wow, I haven't read a middle grade queer story yet. A lot of the middle grade books I've read does not really delve into crushes. I think I only read one that mentioned a crush, but this is interesting to me. The next book I'm interested in is Onyeka and the Rise of the Rebels, and this is by Tolo Okogu. This is book 2 of the Onyeka series. It released on 2nd of May and it was published by Simon Schuster Children in the UK. It has 4.1 star rating out of 49 ratings, and I'm going to read synopsis from book 1, which I have somewhere in the house. It says Black Panther meets X-Men in this fast-paced, action-packed and empowering middle grade adventure about a British Nigerian girl who learns that her afro hair has psychokinetic powers, perfect for fans of Amari and the Knight Brothers, The Marvelous and Rick Riordan. Onyeka has a lot of hair, the kind that makes strangers stop in the streets and her peers whisper behind her back. At least she has Cheyenne, her best friend, who couldn't care less what other people think. Still, Onyeka has always felt insecure about her vibrant curls until the day Cheyenne almost drowns and Onyeka's head takes on a life of its own, inexplicably pulling Cheyenne from the water. At home, Onyeka's mother tells her the shocking tell her the shocking Onyeka's psychokinetic powers make her a Solari, one of a secret group of people with superpowers unique to Nigeria. Her mother quickly whisked her off to the Academy of the Sun, a school in Nigeria where Solari are trained. But Onyeka and her new friends at the Academy soon have to put their powers to the test as they find themselves embroiled in a momentous battle between truth and lies. Really interested in this one. I still have to read book 1. I do have it somewhere on the shelf. I need to find it and I need to read it. The final book I have on my list, this was a long video, it's called Lord of Uncreation. This is book 3 of the final architecture series by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which is a sci-fi series. Book 1 is called Shards of Earth, book 2 is called Eyes of the Void, and book 3 is Lord of Uncreation, and they all have star ratings of above 4 stars. I'm gonna quickly read the synopsis because my battery's flashing. It says, the Arthur C. Clarke award-winning author of Children of Time brings us an extraordinary space opera about humanity on the brink of extinction and how one man's discovery will save or destroy us all. The war is over, its heroes forgotten. Until one chance discovery, Idris has neither aged nor slept since they remade him in the war, and one of humanity's heroes now scrapes by on a freelance salvage vessel to avoid the attention of greater powers. After the Earth was destroyed, mankind created a fighting elite to save the species, enhance humans such as Idris. In the silence of space, they could communicate mind to mind with the enemy. Then the alien aggressors, the architects, simply disappeared, and Idris and his kind became obsolete. Now 50 years later, Idris and his crew have discovered something strange abandoned in space. It's clearly the work of architects, but are they returning? If so, why? Hunted by gangsters, cults, and governments, Idris and his crew race across the galaxy hunting for answers, for they now possess something of incalculable value that many would kill to obtain. Whew. Guys, that is the last book that I'm interested in. Let me know down below the books that you are looking forward to that are releasing in May, and if you made it this far in the video, send me a book stack emoji. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.